I spoke to Noxy, CEO of Hypixel Studios, developer of Hytale. After covering this game for almost 5 years now, we finally got to meet in person last month at Insomnia Gaming Festival for a chat, where we discussed several points about the game, from the engine's new look to features focused on the community, and I even got to ask a few questions. First off, I jokingly asked if he'd brought a beta key. Unfortunately, no key in sight for me. But I did ask how the game's development was going. Remaining mostly tight-lipped to begin with, Noxy expressed that development was continuing onward, with hard work being put in by the whole team daily, and that it's been a real marathon for the studio as a whole, especially given the rewrite of the game that was announced in mid-2022. This has really been like a development endurance test for them as a company, and Riot's assistance has been pivotal in the long-term plan for building this game. In fact, Noxy mentioned that when they announced the change to the whole team, the fact that they'd be coding in C++ rather than Java, not a single member left. That's some dedication right there, and suggests they likely have a really positive work environment. Noxy even brought up the team's Slack channel, where they're constantly sharing fan art and community videos like this one. Sometimes, however, the team themselves can perhaps post a little too much, as Noxy did confirm that yes, the Cubic Chunks poster leak was official. It was totally an accident by a team member who didn't realize at the time. Of course, the community had suspected the use of such a world generation method before, but it's good to know that the poster and terminology are 100% official and from the team. I then had to pry at how the game itself was coming along. Since we haven't really seen anything for almost a year now, I was desperate to know if the re-scripting had changed the game's look at all. Things like newer mobs, structures, environments, and, well, even what that combat system looks like now. There's a lot of progress and big parts of the game to be revealed. Noxy said, "We're very eager for everyone to see how the game's coming along with its new look and the overhauls we've been making. I forget sometimes that no one has seen it yet. We've been working on these changes for a long time. Our team is very passionate about it, and we understand how much everyone else wants to see what we've been up to." Speaking of community, Noxy had a lot to say on that as well. As it was our first time meeting, we had a little chat about my own content, how I have enjoyed personally creating update videos and content on Hytale as a hobby for the last 4 years now, and what Hytale really meant to me in terms of how I've made really strong bonds, shared great experiences with this community, and found new friends through a shared love of the game. I have to say, it was really nice to finally express that appreciation in person. And Noxy shared the sentiment, expressing just how much the community meant to him and the whole team. It truly really is what motivates them every day. They love watching the charity events and listening to fan-made music tracks, hanging fan art on the walls of their office as their PC and mobile wallpapers. They see it every day. Really, the community is at the heart of what is making Hytale, Hytale. Which, considering how long it's been, is ironic in a way. With that said, we got to talking about Hytale Online and the creator ecosystem that will surround it. I wanted to know if Hytale was still maintaining equal focus across all types of creators. Previously, years back, the team had mentioned that they would have some kind of creator program or support for creatives of many kinds, whether that was through a marketplace or by empowering them with more tools. But with delays and the launch being pushed back and back, I don't think many people have really got to thinking about it recently. Not just in terms of what will be on offer, but for who it will be on offer for. Not everyone is a big YouTube creator. Creativity can be categorized in many ways, and games in the past have relied a little too much on content creator focus, in my opinion, often leaving the artists and builders of the community to fend for themselves. And Noxy really wanted to speak on this. While he obviously couldn't break down the intricacies of exactly how, he assured me that they are working on ways to really keep creatives of all kinds in the loop. Not just YouTubers, but artists, musicians, animators, builders, and everyone else. The game is being made to empower all of these types of talent, and also adopt an ecosystem where they can cohabitate, collaborate, and perhaps even earn from their creations. I'm sure they're at the point where they've defined and are evolving all sorts of systems that allow these creatives to have an identity within the Hytale ecosystem, a unique one. Quote, "We want people to have a following on Hytale that isn't necessarily linked to other social platforms." Interesting stuff to think about. Then, the big stuff was discussed. I brought up the future, and Noxy gave me a bit of a surprise by allowing me to hit him. Allowing me to hit him with a question. I wrote the script at like 3 a.m. I went for the obvious and asked, I went for the obvious and asked, considering the long silence, if we would see anything soon. Could we expect anything in the next few months, perhaps? I stared at him. Like, guys, I really tried to psychoanalyze Noxy, but he wouldn't budge. As much as I would love to tell you what we have planned, I just can't. As always, don't get too excited or read into anything. Fair enough, I said, although their game director John Hendricks, who previously worked at Microsoft, did mention that they are on track recently. They're working on new tech, gameplay breakthroughs, and have hired incredibly skilled talent to work on the combat system. But yeah, you're right, I won't accidentally misinterpret anything here and start theorizing or predicting at all. You know, we are coming up on the 1 year mark since the last blog post where we really got substantial information, but I think if there was anything planned, Noxy wouldn't want to ruin the surprise this close anyway. And if not, like he said, let's not be too disappointed. Whatever they've got, we'll get it when we get it. If not this summer, then perhaps sometime this year with any luck. It's not like we won't know about it either. Noxy went on to talk about what will happen when they do launch. It's Riot, and you know when Riot is behind something. The launch is big, it's loud, it's a huge opportunity, and we certainly aren't rushing to mess that up. But you can be sure you'll know when it's coming. And he's right, when Riot launches a game, we all hear about it. And with Hytale already receiving so much attention before Riot's backing, it's like a combination that is primed for attention. Point being, as the team have said before, we'll have more than enough notice before they drop the game or a beta. They're not planning to do it secretly. Then I asked a deeper question, which was more about the lore of the game. I asked whether anything had changed about the lore itself since the tweet we saw about the game having a 90-page lore compendium in 2019. This was like a legitimate tweet that had everyone really excited. 90 pages of lore is a huge amount, and considering this was still in the first year of Hytale's announcement, I was sure that a lot had changed. Of course, this was confirmed by Noxy, who said, yes, a lot has been added. We've gone deep, like very deep, with expansive lore beyond anything we've shown so far. That 90-page compendium? Yeah, no, that's nothing now compared to what we've built around the world of Hytale. Even each faction from what has publicly been revealed, so much more has been added. The base lore is still there, you still have all the factions that we've introduced and their various elements, but the depth is that much more now, and the world of Orbis itself has so much more behind it to uncover. I'm not gonna lie guys, I was getting pretty excited at him just describing it, so I pushed and asked if I could get a tiny extra detail, something we perhaps have never heard about the Quebec faction, for example. And Noxy thought long and hard about this one. Like, they are really serious about not wanting to spoil their story or reveal anything that could give away a vital plot point during the actual game when it drops. And then Noxy said, there is something. Obviously, we've shown you that the Quebecs have a life cycle and different stages. There is, however, one extra stage of a Quebec that you haven't seen yet, and I'll leave you with that. This has had me theorizing for days, and whilst I'd love to jump to conclusions, I'm just gonna wait and find out exactly what that extra form or stage is when it's revealed. It was so cool to meet Noxy face to face and discuss various elements of Hytale. I mean, it's rare that I speak to someone in real life that has even heard of the game Hytale, let alone the CEO of the company. I'd really love to chat to more team members like this in future, and eventually, hopefully, other people who play the game when it releases. Consider subscribing, continue smiling, and thanks as always for watching Quebec Corner. Stay safe and keep free.